She was brought back to consciousness when she felt herself hit the floor. Moaning in pain, she attempted to lift herself onto her legs, but they were still wobbly underneath her weight. "Wakey, wakey," Discord chanted as her eyes began to regain focus. The first thing she noticed was how different the meeting room looked. Every wall was now different colored patterns. One a blue and yellow checkerboard pattern, another with purple and green stripes, and so on. The seats where the ponies once sat were now attached to a bright pink ceiling, with the speaker podium occupied by a deluded earth pony, raging about the current shortage of yo-yo polish in Equestria. Morbidly, the remains of the 6 leaders were there, a heap of rotten and spoiled cookie and pudding. The still impaled body of Pansy next to the now bloody form of Hurricane, a messy shrubbery of clover, and a large slab of platinum. "What have you?" she said weakly, still trying to stand. "Oh, of course." He laughed knowingly. "You want to see how they knew you? By all means." He summoned a mirror. "Take a look." She looked at her reflection and felt sick. She was one of them now. Dark black hair with a stingy, filthy blue mane. Holes in her legs. Fangs. Her feathered wings replaced with an insect-like pair. She had a horn now, but that brought little comfort. Even her cutie mark, the very symbol of who she was, had been robbed from her. What have you done to me?" "Why, I gave you what you wanted. You have power, the abilities of all 3 tribes, and your very own army to boot. I don't see what you're so upset about, Chrysalis." She turned to Discord with her eyes wide. "What did you call me?" "Chrysalis. Such a lovely name, don't you think?" "Oh, who cares what you think? It's your name. Like it or not." "No, my name's—" She stopped. She didn't remember her name. "Oh, remembering your old name would have made it more difficult for you to embrace your new one, so I erased it from history. Oh, don't worry, it wasn't that great anyway. But Chrysalis, very nice. Symbolizes how you changed from a proud Pegasus warrior to this lovely little mess, and all in your own doing." "My doing?" she shrieked. "You did this to me. I never asked for this." "Oh, really?" he mocked, snapping his fingers again. A notepad appeared in his lion paw, and for some, reading glasses appeared on his face. "You wanted the powers of all 3 races. I give you a horn and earth pony strength, plus shape-shifting powers to boot. You wanted a loyal army. I gave you one that follows your every thought. You wanted to conquer entire nations. I let you do that. Under my name." He snapped his talons again, causing the notepad and glasses to disappear. "You have exactly what you wanted. I just didn't dress it up. Don't blame me if it's not as great as you thought it would be." You, she shrieked, lunging at him. Quickly, Discord snapped his fingers. Chrysalis's back bent a full 90 degrees in a direction it shouldn't have. Her eyes bulged and she shrieked in pain. She did something she prided herself on never doing. She cried. At that, her spine straightened, leaving her a sobbing wreck on the floor. Discord floated up to her. "Now you see what happens when you think you're anything more than a tool to me?" Yes, she said through tears. "Good girl," he mocked, patting her cheek. "Just be grateful you didn't end up like those 2 unicorn sisters. Oh, they were a great time. I summoned every pony they'd ever been blood related to, and then I destroyed them all with some of my best work and made them watch. Oh, I don't think I'll ever top that. And the best part is, I made them immortal afterwards. Oh, you should have seen it. The first thing the purple one tried to do was cut her throat, and the white one tried casting her most deadly spells on herself." He laughed at the memories, but then his mirth turned into a grimace. And then they had to kill the mood. "Oh, why? Why are you doing this?" he mocked with a poor impression. I mean, hello, Master of Chaos and Disharmony here. Like I need a reason to do anything. I really need to think of some kind of punishment for asking why. He rubbed his chin in thought. Anyway, after a few attempts, they gathered up the remains of that orb and wandered away. Good riddance to them. They were getting too grim for my tastes anyway. Besides, now I can work on other things, like that plant that plays practical jokes on ponies. At this point, Chrysalis had risen to her feet. She was no longer in physical pain, but her heart was still heavy with the newfound hopelessness of her situation. She also felt a strange emptiness inside of her. She felt hungry, but she didn't desire food. Oh, yeah. You feed on love now. Too bad no creature could ever love you now. Even if you didn't look so hideous, you'd never be forgiven for what you've done. You'd better start using those shape-shifting powers. And every time you and your changelings do that, it will breed fear and mistrust among ponies. Oh, an easy way to spread chaos. I'm as brilliant as I am lovely. 3 months. Had it only been 3 months? To the ponies living under Discord's rule, centuries might have passed. The sun and the moon rose and set completely at random. Clouds of cotton candy rained chocolate milk. It snowed mashed potatoes and gravy, and the wind had a nasty bit of sudden blowing at deadly speeds with a minty smell to it. If Discord was ever overthrown, the tactics used by the unicorns and Pegasi for extortion would become necessary. Inside the former Capitol building, Discord floated over a fiery pit, holding several marionettes controlling bars, 2 in each hand and 1 in his tail. Attached to them by strings were a Pegasus, a unicorn, and an earth pony, all wiggling just above the flames. Laughing, Discord manipulated each pony. He manipulated the earth pony into dipping his flank into the fire, causing him to scream and howl with pain. He begged to know the reason why, which resulted in several cockroaches swarming out of his mouth. The Master of Chaos chuckled, then took a moment to listen to the speaker on the ceiling, who was now proposing a bill for all ponies to wear interesting boxers on Tuesdays. Chrysalis sat to one side of the pit, observing the chaos and smirking. As terrible as her life had become, she took solace in knowing others were suffering worse than she. However, her enjoyment faded when a thought entered her mind. Discord, one of my changelings reports 2 ponies heading this way. It says they're alicorns. Really? My, this should be interesting, he noted, looking down at his 3 captives. You hear that, my little ponies? We're about to get a whole set. The captives only wailed in response. At that moment, the doors to the room opened, and 2 alicorns entered, glaring at Discord. Both Discord and Chrysalis couldn't help but shake the feeling of familiarity of them. One was white with a flowing ethereal mane of every color of the rainbow, while the other was a dark blue with a mane of stars. Both wore armor, gold for the light one, onyx for the dark one, both with what appeared to be 3 jewels in them. Discord, your reign has come to an end, the white one announced. If I had a bit for every time I heard that, well, I guess I'd have a whole lot of nothing, since money means nothing anymore, Discord rumbled. Both alicorns' horns glowed, causing Discord's puppets to disappear and reappear on the side of the pit. They rushed out the door, hopeful that the mad god would focus his efforts on the 2 new intruders. The pony on the ceiling disappeared as well, teleporting to safety by the pair. Ah, you're no fun, Discord whined. We will not allow you to harm any more ponies, as you did to our family, the darker one explained. Oh, I hurt your families? When? What? The whiter one asked incredulously. You killed them all horrifically. Then you cursed us with immortality, so we could never join them in death. Ah, Discord said, putting his talons to his chin in deep thought. Oh yeah, you 2. So, how's it going? Oh, that is it! The darker one exclaimed. Come, dear sister, let us activate our new weapon. Oh, a new weapon! Discord laughed, clapping his hands and jumping in a childish manner. Let's see it! In response, the two alicorns' eyes glowed an intense white. The room seemed to rumble under their power. Then a bright rainbow streak began circling them. Oh my, what a pretty rainbow! Discord mocked. The light shot towards the ceiling before arcing downward. Why, it pulls at my heartstrings. The rainbow hit him as he struck a dramatic pose. Somewhere over the rain... He never finished that lyric, because that was the point his neck turned to stone. By the time he realized what was happening, his whole body was frozen of that moment of an over-exaggerated singing. Chrysalis's eyes widened. Discord, who had taken out armies without breaking a sweat, had just been defeated with one blow. Perhaps fleeing would be wise. Before she could, however, the bright rainbow light shot out in a wave around the statue, enveloping her. She felt herself stiffen. Her body was getting harder. It was difficult to breathe. Chrysalis was brought back to the waking world by a rude wakey wakey. The queen of the changelings moaned as she rubbed her head. She looked around. She appeared to be in a cave of some sort, with very little illumination other than a single light. The only thing she could make out was an all too familiar Draconius in front of her. What happened? Were we victorious? Discord shook her head. Sadly, no. These two turned us both to stone. I guess I underestimated them. I was turned to stone? Chrysalis asked, alarmed. For how long? Over 1,000 years. So much has changed. He laughed. He placed a finger on the changeling's head. In an instant, she received an intense headache as several new thoughts entered her head. There. That should get you up on everything. Chrysalis's mind reeled. The weapons used to defeat Discord were the elements of harmony. The two alicorns who had defeated them now ruled Equestria, still living thanks to Discord's curse. The elements were now held by 6 mortal ponies. Of all 3 tribes, she saw. How disgusting. Still, she couldn't put any faces to them. Where are my changelings? She demanded. Discord pointed behind her. She looked behind her, but saw nothing. Then she realized that it wasn't a floor behind her. All of her soldiers were now stone, frozen in place and all piled beneath her. Luna and Celestia turned you all to stone, then they piled you all in here. Well, she demanded, aren't you going to release them? Hey, patience, Discord sneered. They're my ace in the hole. You see, I still need to break the mortals that hold the elements. If I fail, I go back to being a rock. And if that happens, you're going to be the one to go into Canterlot and free me a second time. And why would I do that? She demanded. Because, with or without your help, I'll escape eventually. And believe me, you won't like it, because of what I'll do to you, he threatened, leaning in towards her with glaring eyes. Chrysalis visibly shook. Discord rose up towards the hole in the roof. If I lose, this mountain will open up again, and your changelings will turn back to normal. They'll likely stick me back into Canterlot, so look there first. Now, if you excuse me, the bearers of the elements should be in the castle by now. Time for me to make my entrance. With a snap of his fingers, the mountain closed itself. Of course, Discord failed. She and her subjects were free. By then, however, she decided she wouldn't follow through with Discord's plan. If the power of friendship could defeat him so easily, surely the power of love would be just as effective. She staged her takeover for her benefit, not his. A whole kingdom of brainwashed ponies would provide more than enough love to power her up to face discord. She failed, however. Failed, exposed her existence, and scattered her subjects. At least, temporarily. Now she was doomed, if discord ever did get free again, if she didn't think quickly. Still, her plans to conquer Canterlot were now only half her plans. There were other matters. Twilight Sparkle, Shining Armor, and Princess Cadence, originally a unicorn, she understood, who had managed to conquer the trials at a very young age. She needed to figure them out. How had they produced a love spell capable of hurting her? How had the elements of harmony turned her into stone instead of giving her a power boost? Why did they behave so irrationally? She needed to understand these things so she could fulfill her new, secondary goal. It used to be the Earth ponies she hated the most. But now, you three, you'll pay.